TD enters e-commerce arena, aims to compete with Shopify. Toronto Dominion Bank, TD, has entered the e-commerce arena with a new platform designed for small business, marking a significant move in the Canadian financial sector. This initiative, a first for a Canadian bank, is being launched in partnership with Austin-based software company BigCommerce. The new platform aims to compete with established players like Shopify, offering a small business the tools to create online stores and sell their products. This development represents a broader trend of traditional banks expanding into digital services, blurring the lines between conventional financial institutions and tech-focused service providers. Alec Morley, TD's Senior Vice President of Canadian Small Business Banking, which is a hell of a job title, acknowledged the need for the bank to evolve beyond traditional point-of-sale services to remain competitive. He highlighted Shopify as their primary competitor, but expressed confidence in the sophistication of the store-building tools provided through BigCommerce, and this came from the deepdive.ca. So first discussion topic, will businesses adopt this technology?
BigCommerce is already fairly well adopted. They've been in the game for quite some time.
Yep.
BigCommerce is, they've been around a while. So will they adopt it? Well, they've already got a bunch of adoption. BigCommerce does, I would imagine, billions of dollars a year in transactions and sales through their platform. So short answer is yes. To the degree of will TD's customers adopt it? If TD can present them a good offer and show them the value of why they should go through their e-commerce platform over Shopify, if there was some kind of ease or cheapness or value.
This is where my hot take comes in. I think businesses are going to be all over this.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So when we have run seed apps in the past, helping businesses with their transformation, and that's for anyone who's not familiar with the program, we helped a ton of businesses that were not leveraging all of the digital tools they could be, leverage more digital tools, and it was a government-funded program. We noticed a ton of trends with all kinds of different technologies as we were going through the program. There were a couple of things I noticed. So number one, when we asked businesses what point of sale system they were using, a surprisingly large number of businesses told us what point of sale terminal they use to complete transactions.
Yep.
Not necessarily a broader point of sale system like Shopify's POS or Square POS. Like they weren't actually using a POS system with all their product inventory entered. They didn't have a larger formal setup. They would just had a terminal. And they said, yeah, this is our POS system. It's a terminal. And so I think there's a lot of businesses that are really heavily invested in just doing all of their transactions through their banking terminal.
Yes.
And I think if that same bank that's already integral to how they run their brick and mortar business comes along and says, hey, we have a platform where you can start collecting online sales, I think there's a lot of trust already built up because they look at that terminal and go, yeah, that's my POS system. And now they can look at it and go, oh yeah, that's my e-commerce system as well. And to back up this stance, I would take a look at the number of businesses I've seen, particularly in the food and drink space, that use Square as their point of sale system, and then end up using the dinky Square website builder to launch their online stores as well. Because even though it's not a great e-commerce platform, they're already invested in that ecosystem and using it in their retail environment. And so for them, they go, yeah, I can get an e-commerce website through Square. And they're not even looking at Shopify because they don't know what they don't know.
Yep.
They don't know they could have a much better e-commerce site by switching to a dedicated platform. All they know is, well, Square does my point of sale through my restaurant, If I want to sell online, Square has tools that let me do that. I can just fire it up and I'm off to the races.
Off to the races.
And so, will businesses adopt it? Absolutely. I think we'll be surprised by how many businesses adopt it just because of how strong that banking partnership actually is as an in. Is it a threat to Shopify? No. No, I don't think it's a threat to Shopify because frankly, I don't think it's serving the same market that Shopify is serving.
No, it's a secondary competitor. It's not a good primary competitor. It's definitely secondary or tertiary.
Absolutely. And when the VP of Canadian Small Business Banking from TD says, "Oh, our biggest competitor is Shopify," I think he's fundamentally misunderstanding how businesses adopt new technologies. Because there's not going, unless this is the most amazing platform in the world, which I don't see it. They're not going to convince Shopify customers to jump ship.
Nope.
And if you are, Shopify's primary demographic is not existing businesses going online. We love to work with those businesses, but when you look at the vast majority of Shopify sites, they are new entrepreneurs trying to launch online businesses. They're drop shippers. They're people who've listened to some influencers talking about all the money that can be made in e-commerce. And they're going, "Oh, I have a great idea for an online store. Let me dive in and open up a store." Yep. Well, those customers are going to have no interest at all in a bank integrated
terminal
that now has an online platform associated with it, right? Like if they're not already bought into a bank's ecosystem.
I would love to see one major player leave Shopify and go with TD. I don't think it'll happen.
I'd be shocked.
I would be shocked.
Like, why would you?
Why? I don't.
Unless it's an absolutely mind-blowingly amazing program.
Or it's so much
cheaper.
It's much cheaper. Like we know businesses that are very, very sensitive to like a 1 point increase in credit card transactions.
Yeah.
Like can't happen.
Well,
period. It would.
It's tough because if you talk to certain business owners, they will get caught up on that number and miss the big picture.
Yes, they will.
Because even if the rates on this program are way better than they are on Shopify, which we don't know, that's just a pure what if question. Nope. Even if the rates are way better than the rates on Shopify, if the online store builder isn't as powerful and your conversion rate is going to plummet.
Yeah, if your conversion rate goes down 1%.
Well, then you're going to have a huge problem, way bigger than just the transaction fees you're paying on Shopify, when there are already competitive transaction fees on Shopify.
Yeah.
So I don't see this as like a market changer as far as Shopify is concerned. I could see this causing friction in terms of getting some business owners to move over to Shopify POS and launch an online store through Shopify if they're already, using TD as their POS system and they love banking with TD and that's what they're comfortable with. I think those business owners are going to jump on this, but I just think those are different business owners.
So I have a hot take on this as well.
Okay.
So I'm going to reread this bottom part here, and I want to talk about that a little bit. Alec Morley, TD's Senior Vice President of Canadian Small Business Banking, acknowledges the need for their bank to evolve beyond traditional point-of-sale services to remain competitive. He highlighted Shopify as their primary competitor. I'm just going to stop the quote there. He goes on. I'm going to stop it there. Shopify does compete with the banks right now with Shopify Capital. Okay. Shopify goes, "Oh, you want to borrow money?" They go into the lending space. Shopify goes right into the banking space with Shopify Capital and says, "We'll give you $30,000 right now. We'll give you $30,000 tomorrow, and your payback is going to be at the end of every day. A percentage of your sales that come through your online store will pay back the 30 with interest." And now he's seeing that as going, "Oh wow, Shopify's taking all. Why would I need to go to the bank?"
I think you're reading a lot into this.
Well,
I don't think he's talking about Shopify competing with them in the lending space at all. Well, he's saying we've got a new e-commerce system. Our primary competitor is Shopify because they're the e-commerce giants.
No.
That's.
I'm trying to find, because I do trust that like the senior vice president would have had some amount of insight and resources and research done on how you're actually competing here. Shopify was a BigCommerce competitor. Shopify and BigCommerce go head to head all the time.
Yep.
And now that they're in partnership together, but like they're not going to war with TD. They're going to war with BigCommerce. Like those two players offer the same value, roughly speaking. They're in the same place. And just because you partnered with them, well, what BigCommerce should be going to TD about is the lending space. Let's go compete against the product that we can actually compete against with Shopify, which would be, we can now lend entrepreneurs money, not because TD doesn't actually.
I don't know if I get the take you're trying to present here, because like, yeah, TD can also do that, but there's no reason they can't jump into the e-commerce space and make some money. They're separate things. I feel you're conflating.
So like they're gonna
two different branches.
So let's talk about this. How does TD make money at this?
It's a value add for their customers.
Yeah.
So it's potentially lock-in, preventing customers from jumping ship to an alternate payments processor.
That saves you money. It doesn't make you money. Retention is
important.
It is.
So like you can't split hairs and say, well, I'm asking specifically for how they make extra money on this, because that's not the only reason businesses do things.
Okay.
Right.
So it helps them remain competitive. Fair enough. That's his point.
They could conceivably attract new retail customers into TD because they offer this expanded e-commerce capability, which the other payment processors don't provide.
Okay.
They could conceivably make money through online fees. I don't actually know the platform well enough to know the funding model.
So there might be fees.
But there's lots of different ways they could make money offering this service. I just find it hard to imagine that they launched this service in retaliation because Shopify is offering lending.
So Shopify uses Stripe.
Yeah.
So like, great. Instead of using TD, they use Stripe. And now BigCommerce uses TD.
Sure.
In the Canadian space, at least. Cool.
And I'm not sure about how this is being framed. Is this just BigCommerce, but TD's promoting it, or have they like launched their own sub thing?
They call it TD Online Mart.
Yeah, so I'm sure it's not identical to BigCommerce. They're just leveraging BigCommerce's e-commerce experience to launch a new platform. Yeah, probably is not as robust as BigCommerce, but has more integrations with TD's ecosystem.
Yes. So back to your point, I think you're right in saying it's because it's the exact same thing with Square. It's like, if I trust my payment processor, I'll just further bake in to the technology I'm already using because it just all plugs in and I'm already a TD customer and yada, yada, yada.
It's the same thing we see happening where like every CRM eventually also has task management.
Yes.
Right? Like
just a development of...
It's just big tech companies going, well, we can offer more related tech services to our customers, and they're going to opt into that because they already do a massive portion of their business with us. They might as well use our technology and all the other areas, and they're going to benefit from all the integrations, and it's going to be great.
And they are specifically on their site, they're specifically positioning this as helping retail customers, healthcare and fitness, and then restaurants and delivery services.
You do have screen sharing,
we can do this.
Show this off.
So I'm on their site right now. The three major blocks that they're actually promoting this on, I just read them quickly. Great, healthcare and fitness. They are using the recurring payments. Like obviously, if you're a healthcare or a fitness instructor, if you've got recurring monthly packages or weekly packages. Restaurants, the same thing. Don't miss sales because for food, for ordering food and beverages online. It's like ordering food and beverages online here. I would almost consider that more like competing with like Uber Eats.
Look at the verbiage they're using though in the very first paragraph under retail. Reach new customers throughout Canada. Bring your store online.
With TD Online Mart.
And so this is what I was saying.
Hosted checkout offers a consistent brand experience and lets customers shop and they choose.
The target demographic for this.
Yep, is small business owners and retail that don't have a store already.
That have a physical store, but don't have an online store. And so that's where I think they're going to be successful in that market because that market exists. We've seen them go online with their payment processor before.
Yep.
I just don't think it's Shopify's bread and butter.
It's not.
Shopify is going the other way. Shopify went, we're going to build an amazing e-commerce platform. We're going to capture everyone's who's e-commerce first.
It's e-commerce first.
And then we're going to get into the brick and mortar stores through their marketing departments and their web departments. And we're going to build this great e-commerce platform so they can do all their online sales. And then we come out with Shopify POS and we say, oh.
Yeah, and that's still a little shaky. That's not full there. But that was the secondary.
They're approaching that market from two different sides, right? Shopify is saying, we are your e-commerce provider. Try our point of sale system. TD is saying, we are your point of sale system. Try our e-commerce platform. I think that doesn't position TD to capture all the e-commerce startups that don't already have a payment processor and don't have a brick and mortar location.
Yes.
And this is where I don't think they're really a threat to Shopify, regardless of how great the platform ends up being. because they just don't have
The same, no.
They don't have the brand recognition with everyone who's just trying to start an online store.
So like ultimately, is it a threat to Shopify? Not really. Like it is, but it isn't.
No.
It's like Shopify, this is just a drop in the bucket. I'm pretty sure Shopify is bigger than TD, believe it or not.
I have no idea.
Yeah,
that wouldn't surprise me.
I'm pretty
They're like
sure
one
they
of
are.
the biggest Canadian companies.
I will while you're explaining while we will support it or not, I'm just gonna make a quick Google on
Sure.
I believe Shopify is bigger.
We're not going to support it, is the short answer. We keep our tech stack very closely guarded in the sense that it doesn't make sense for us to support every technology under the sun. The intellectual overhead of managing multiple e-commerce platforms just doesn't make sense for a company at our scale. And as we continue to scale up, it doesn't make sense for us to branch out either. We'd rather be really good at the things we specialize in than try to do a little bit of everything. So like if all of our Shopify customers suddenly start jumping ship and everyone's switching to TD, obviously we'll move with the market and we'll react to that. But we're pretty invested in the Shopify ecosystem. We've been Shopify partners for a number of years. We work closely with Shopify on a lot of educational content. It wouldn't really make any sense for us to jump into this other platform. So I think Shopify is where we're going to be staying for the foreseeable future.
After some quick Googling and going through, oh yeah, that'll be.
Are you going to want to share screen for any of this?
I'm going to just get some numbers here. No, I don't need to share any screen. I just did a quick lookup on total market cap for TD and Shopify. Your guess? What is your guess? Is TD bigger or Shopify bigger?
It's
close.
It's close.
It's close. TD is at $149 billion of total market cap, and Shopify is $139. So TD is technically $10 billion Canadian, worth more than
I was
Shopify.
going to guess TD is doing better just because of all the red lines I see on your screen. As you look at the Shopify stock prices right now.
During COVID, Shopify was
they were a monster.
They were a monster through COVID.
Yeah.
And they're still very healthy. They're massive companies. I think Shopify is the 4th largest company and TD is the 3rd. They're very close, very large. They are giants. They are giants in their own right. But I don't think this is going to be a major, crazy. Shopify's market cap is not going to suffer too much because of this TD launch.
No. No. I don't see it making any impact at all.
No.
In terms of what Shopify is doing, it's.
It's still cool. It's cool to see. I would love to see if other banks follow suit. I mean, we could be wrong. We've been wrong before. That's okay. We like talking about these things. I would love to see this actually. I would love to see this help Canadian businesses adopt more technology. If that helps give confidence to retailers in Canada, that would be amazing.
Unfortunately, I think it's another roadblock towards some Canadian companies adopting better e-commerce tools.
It definitely doesn't. Yeah.
Right? Because we saw that. There were businesses that we would rather move to Shopify because they're going to have a more effective online store, and they weren't interested because they were already using the one that came with their processor.
Yeah.